Hey everybody, this is Lamont Ellis, the acquisition manager, man. I'm vibing. So what I learned from my what I learned from working one-on-one with my principal partner. So first things first, I want to say shout out to Steven. He gave me instant credibility. Shout out to my other partners too. I ain't gonna throw y'all out like that. They definitely helped me out. They definitely put me in the right rooms, definitely built the right connections. But this is just working with Steven. It definitely enhanced my experience. No denying this. So first things first, Stephen. I like to say that Stephen is a broker. He is a broker, so he speaks the language from the legal system and working directly with realtors. I was already working with realtors back then, but I was working underneath my other partners' process, and their process is different. Again, Stephen is looking at this as a business owner. As I shouldn't say a bit, he's looking at this as an operator. An operator is somebody totally different. An operator is somebody that's operating these businesses, that's operating the Dollar Generals, that's operating the Walmarts. The people that own these actual businesses and put people in place. So he's looking at it from an actual business owner standpoint. So transparency, transparency, it kills all objections. It kills all that. It lowers that. It actually makes them want to trust you more because you coming in being transparent. That's something Stephen he preaches. Again, his contracts and his letter of intents are very detailed, and sometimes they like a little too detailed because it makes some of these people confused. So what I like to do, I like to break it down from a simple perspective before we give it to them, because sometimes it's too much transparency. But from his standpoint, transparency is better. Shout out to Stephen again. This is just the experience that I have. So clarity. He basically lays out everything on the line. Hey, this is what we gonna do. It's creative. It may be odd, but this is what we doing. I'm willing to even walk you through the entire process. Trust building. It immediately Steven, I ain't gonna lie, he like the golden goose. Like again, I always say Shaq and Kobe. Steven, he was like the Shaq and Kobe. We like the Shaq and Kobe. I'm consistent. So by me being consistent and somebody that has the credibility, that has the system in place, somebody that's willing to jump on the phone, somebody that, hey, I don't want you to do anything else. Just focus on this strategy. All right, cool. So we moving. So you start to get the experience. Shout out to Steven again. More experience than what I already had. I've been with Steven a little over I would say this is going to be the ninth. This private access. So you got to pay to play. Like I always said, and a lot of these communities, you pay for it. It's worth the money. You get the experience instantly. Stephen, he brings that credibility to the table. So humanity matters in business. Listening, adapting. Stephen is one of those people where he's listening to everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. There's been situations where sellers in turn left on him, or a situation that went left, and he again, where I get a lot of this walking, a lot of this persuade. He liked to play with it a little bit. So I kind of took his approach, especially when things go left. I play with it, not in an aggressive way or not in a mean way, but I play with it to try to turn the conversation back to what I want. And that's something I know that Stephen be doing. You got to understand, this is a book called Emotional Intelligence. Actually, it's Emotional Intelligence 2.0. That's a good book. That's what I see Stephen is actually doing. In my head, that's what it looked like he doing. He reading the room, he listening, he adapting, he's still positioning himself as a buyer. It's a credible buyer. Emotional control, patience, timing, leverage, structuring. These are all the things that Stephen has taught me. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it was a few situations where the seller kind of turned up on him and how he responded. He responded in a way that, from my standpoint, it was a way to disengage the seller from an aggressive standpoint, to re-engage the seller with an understanding standpoint of why and this has to be done because the property has this. So it lowers their actual guard and it makes them, you got to understand, people are looking at this from a greedy standpoint. Mine. So we have to come in and, okay, we're willing to give you, but at the same time, it has to be somewhat of a deal. So patience, timing. Stephen, he always says this. Oh, let them bake a little bit longer. They're in la la land. They're being unrealistic right now. Let the time go by. I told y'all, we how we make our money is on the follow-up. Structuring. Stephen has definitely taught me how to leverage debt, OPM, other people's money. That's something Stephen has taught me how to do more than what I knew how to do previously from a capital stack standpoint. Buyers have power too. That's something Stephen he anchors on. That's something Stephen he preaches all the time. You have just as much power as the seller. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay in these negotiations. You have to use it to your advantage. But you have just as much power as well. The property won't sell without you. They need you just as much as you need them. And if they don't recognize that, pass. Keep on moving. This is a team effort. Yes, I understand you want a deal. And remember what I always tell y'all, what Steven say. Let them feel like they won because it's an ego. It's you making an ego move. But don't let them take advantage of you either. We looking for deals. So that's very important. Consistency builds trust 100%. For me, having a team in place, having Steven, having me, having the support, it's able, again, I always compare it to Shaquille and Kobe, Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman, or Scottie Pippen, however you want to put it. But the point that I'm making is I highlight Steven and Steven highlight me. I'm consistent. I'm coming in, you know what I mean? Like I'm an action taker. I'm not scared to do the work. I'm not scared to fuck up. Because this is a trial and I understand the business. So it's a lot different for me. But if you willing to do the heavy lifting and compliment him, you complimenting each other. He got the credibility, I got the hustle. I just need some room to fuck up. That's all I'm asking. You give me some room to fuck up, we good. But different roles share wins. Yes, 100%. That was one of the things Steven taught me. Team effort, team. His team, me, him. Systems change everything. For me, that's one of the things Steven taught me. Having a system in place, having a CRM. Again, I had one from a standpoint of Excel. CRM, he's taught me how to use my CRM from a standpoint of organization. Follow-up systems. Always had accountability. So accountability wasn't my problem. But what he showed me, which is what I want to highlight, he showed me taking accountability actually closes deals. I'm telling you, these seasoned people, what I realized, they have systems. I didn't have a system. I was doing everything out the mud. I got it out the mud, my bad. But I was doing everything off me, the strength, the hustle for years. It changes your understanding. It does. Me being in this community, it has taught me how to leverage DSCR loans, how to leverage SBA loans, how to put them together with seller financing, how to work directly with the lenders, how to use these entities, how to purchase businesses, how to be an operator. From a CEO standpoint, where you looking at this as roles. Hey, we're the chairman. We are positioned as the chairman. Then you got people under you, and then they got people under them, and then they got people working the actual managing the system. So again, Stephen has taught me from an understanding standpoint from a business standpoint. I didn't know that. Again, exposure, being in the right rooms. Stephen has taught me how to utilize lenders from a standpoint of what I was doing back then. What I was doing back then, we was just using the pre-approval letters, but we weren't working the relationship. We wasn't. Again, Stephen has taught me how to use the DSCR loans, so it's a lot different compared to what. So understanding the legal system from his standpoint, it definitely opened a lot of doors. Transparency is everything. So understanding laws, understanding why this law is in place. I understood that as I was taking the appraisal courses. But Stephen, again, like I said in the previous videos, the education is important, but I'm chasing the experience faster because the experience is going literally is going you're going to learn that off the dump. And that's what I'm learning now. Like again, a lot of the things that we were talking about in the appraiser course, I'm learning it right now, putting these things together, utilizing these services. So I'm getting it faster than I would get if I took the actual course and stayed there. So for me, Stephen he's opened that door to how licensing works, how to work with the states, how to work with the counties, how to work with the government when it comes to getting licensed. Now, don't get me wrong, that 8-week boot camp, it definitely exposed me to those things. Definitely had to call a lot of corporations to get that information. But Stephen is actually, I'm trying to explain it in a way that y'all don't understand. Stephen, so the 8-week boot camp, this is the difference. The 8-week boot camp, we acted as if we would get the loan, and we stopped right there. Some people they were seasoned enough to go farther. For me, mine was just enough to get the loan and stop right there. You go to the next thing that was on the sheet. This, we get the loan, we planning out after we get the loan what we're going to do. We're making plans on how what's the value add that we planned on. Why did we pick this property? What is the cash flow? So we coming in with a structure in place. We're coming in with ideas. We're coming in with pre-planned ideas as we are purchasing this property. So it's a different level of experience. Um Learning to love the grind. For me, I'm a hustler. So the grind is easy to me. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. The grind is easy to me. Stephen, he embraced the grind. He's happy to speak to people, especially people that are mean. He looks at it as a way of not coaching them, but showing them the other side of real estate that's not being taught by the real estate commission board. So he's exposing, he's exposing realtors to another education that realtors are not seeing. Enjoying the process. He talks about it all the time. Enjoy the good, the bad, enjoy all of it. And what did you learn from it? What did you take from it? What did you, how was the experience? Did you close a deal today? What was the conversation? So persistence through challenges. That's all the time he talks about. Deals fall through all the time. Deals make it. Consistency is going to help you close more deals. The biggest lesson. So working closely with experienced operators transformed my understanding. 100%. So for me, working with Steven versus what I used to do, I was again my used to, not currently. I still do it often, but not really. I'm more serious and locked into Steven's method because it's an alley oop. But my experience was a wholesaler. For those who don't understand wholesaling, we're looking for discounted properties and flip them out for a 10% increase or a 30% increase, depending on the formula that you purchased it at. So let's say, again, short, keep it simple. Say a property was worth $150,000. You got it for $100,000. You turn around and flip it to a buyer for $10,000 or $20,000. So that's how wholesalers make their money. For me now, as an acquisition manager, we're looking at this as an actual operator standpoint, meaning we're buying the Walmarts, we're buying the Dollar Generals. We're buying the smaller mom and the smaller mom and pop organizations. We're buying apartments. We're buying these businesses that are backed by real estate. So Stephen has taught me from a owner standpoint, how much cash flow do you want? Is there enough room to protect yourself? As Stephen always says, he want businesses that have been through a few recessions, because that means they've survived a little bit, and you can look at the financial history. You can see what it was doing financially in those years, depending on how much you request as far as P&Ls. So that's what Stephen taught me, and more systems, utilizing systems. Stephen, he's taught me how to handle these, I want to say, tough situations from I almost said, my bad, Stephen, but from a intelligent, emotional intelligence 2.0 standpoint, meaning being able how to have a conversation and cherry pick certain things and regurgitate it, but at the same time twist it in a way that works for you versus working for the seller. The only issue is with that is iron sharpens iron. And the second thing is emotional. People that are very emotional, it kills the deal. It's so many reasons why deals can fall apart. It's crazy. But Steven has made it easy for me to consistently do deals. So, I was always getting one here and there, but Steven made it easy for me to consistently close. Again, latching his system to my system. That's what I've been doing. These past couple of months I've been working with him. That's exactly what I've been doing. Communication, working these deals, structuring these deals correctly. Don't get me wrong, some of these deals are still low, but again, you got to pass on them if it don't make financial sense. So, guys, the things that I learned with Steven, again, how to get in the serious rooms, how to show credibility, how to have these conversations. No disrespect. Shout out to all the realtors. How to smooth talk and get the realtors to give you what you want. Get the realtors to vouch for you. Get the realtors to go to bat for you, or brokers to get them to go to bat for you. That's what Steven taught me. Shaquille and Kobe. I'm just not lazy. So that's one of the things that Steven definitely taught from me. Again, I have so many experiences working with Steven. I'm a hustler. I'm active. I'm constantly willing to do trial and error. As y'all can see, I'm willing to be vulnerable. Put this on camera. I'm willing to do the hard things. I'm willing to stand up and say, "Fuck it, I do it." Nobody else want to do it. I do it. So I'm willing to be that. And for me, it's funny because in this is outside of my experience with Steven, but it's funny because when I first joined the community, he at first, it's funny, he looked at me like I was a regular person. Soon as I got that look, soon as I brought them deals to the table, the conversation changed instantly. Again, Shaquille and Kobe. Oh, I'm trying to be professional, y'all, but I can't help it. Niggas got to looking at me like, hold on, we need to give him some more attention. He's good. He's seasoned. He's ready. He just needs us. That's okay. So that's what I was waiting on. I needed I needed the alley oop. I needed somebody to give me that. Help me. I'm willing to be vulnerable to get what I want because I understand that's how you win. Working with Steven, it has definitely taught me a lot. Team effort was something that I was lacking until I got in this community. Don't get me wrong, I had my own team, but working outside of me. Oh, don't get me wrong, I network, etc. but it's more of a transaction standpoint that I'm trying to get away from. That's another thing Stephen is talking. Don't treat it like a transactional standpoint. Now, now he say he in the business to make friends and be friends with everybody. My bad, y'all. I gotta show my culture a little bit. I'm not trying to be friends like that. I don't mind a working friendship, but I'm really to myself, and I really like that. It's peaceful. So, but again, a lot of the things that Stephen has taught me is evaluation, credibility, transparency. Oh my God. Transparency has been the thing that helped us get these deals. Shout out to Miss Connie. Miss Connie is a wonderful agent that we got the campground under contract. You know, shout out to shout out to Joe, shout out to Mike. A lot of these individuals, again, they see how we moving. Shout out to my other partners as well. Again, I just don't want to highlight Steven because I work with a few different people, and different people have different systems in place and they do different things. They target different properties. But to me, Steven, he complements my process because he works on market. A lot of other people prefer off market. Off market, you got to spend more money, it's more work, but the deals are more attractive to, again, those buyers. So for me, Stephen, he compliment my hustle. I'm willing to put in the work. I just need a little bit of help me out. You see, I ain't polished. I ain't even gonna hide from it. I ain't polished. Help me out. Put me in the game. Shit. So that's what this is. I'm willing to be on point. I'm willing to trial and error. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be vulnerable to get what I want. I don't mind fucking up, and I don't mind, being who I am. By me fucking up, that lets you know oh, my bad. Get it together. But all right, guys, have a nice day. Bye.